It wasn't until I became an adult that I realized that a lot of sisterhoods are only together. A lot of women are only in groups because they get a self esteem boost, a ego hit from having a common enemy. And that common enemy is typically a woman that's doing better than them, that looks better than them, that in some way can stand her own ground and doesn't require external validation, not only from other women, but also from men. Like, I didn't realize just how toxic the sisterhood can be until I realized that in most of these groups, all they're doing is covering up each other's insecurities. Nobody's really challenging each other to do better, to be better. They're not really pushing each other to find what will fulfill each of them as individuals, but instead they kind of walk around with this one group, one mind, one sound, one band, one sound type of identity, which doesn't sound bad on the surface, but once you're really in one of these groups, you realize that anything that intimidates them, anything that they deem as not okay, something a woman shouldn't be doing, or somebody that's too confident, too seen, too this, too that, instead of them actually doing the inner work to understand why they feel that way, they go into that common enemy type mindset, and it's like, oh, who does she think she is? Oh, he like it's this immediate rejection of anything that challenges them to be better.
Society's lied to you. These big friendships and friend groups are a scam. They're not real. Nobody in these big friend groups are actually like best friends. Society will make you think that they're all having this grand old time and that they're all actually best friends, but they're not. They're talking bad about each other. They're having rifts in between. It's not what you think. And just because you're not involved doesn't mean that you're less than. Maybe you're a little bit more emotionally evolved and you wouldn't be happy to hear people saying bad things about somebody else in a friend group. So you really don't find yourself in friend groups. But these friend groups truly are a scam. They're not as close as you think they are. Maybe you wouldn't call certain people a friend that they call a friend. Maybe to you, they would be an acquaintance. So you wouldn't be part of this friend group either. But just so you know, I've seen it firsthand. They're mean to each other and they lie to each other and they're not actually that good of friends. So, neurodivergent people out there, don't think that you're being left out of something that good.
I just seen the girl tell a story about how her friend made a fake page of her and she was, just doing all this weird shit. And I just want to let y'all know, it don't ever be a person that you don't know behind that fake page or that anonymous page. Those pages be people that you know. They be your friends. They be your families. And I'm not trying to scare nobody. I'm not trying to scare y'all. But they really be people that you know. They be people that you know. And I'm telling you right now. Don't ever put shit past nobody. It be people that you think, it be like, oh, well, they love me. They care about me. No, they don't. They don't. Those fake pages be your friends. That's the craziest thing. Like, I done lived so much life and I done seen so much shit. Everybody is guilty until proven innocent. And they most likely always guilty. And the best thing about that is a slow hoe could never pull a fast one on me. I'm just letting you know right now. If a bitch ever think they ahead of me, I got news for you.
Hey ladies, so I'm back with another video, and as you all can already tell by now, the topic of this video is centering around the concept of sisterhood and can sisterhood actually exist in the year 2025? Is this something that is achievable within women friendships, or is this something that doesn't actually translate to real life? I feel like we see examples of sisterhood in movies and television shows. And we also see online on social media, we see these massive friend groups that appear to have been together for years, and they're showing all the positive, they're posting all the positive, but we're not really necessarily seeing what goes on behind closed doors. Like, we're not seeing how toxic these friend groups are in real life, and that, oh, they all talk about one another, or certain people secretly hate one another within that friend group. We're not aware, we're not privy to the darker side of it. And for those of us out there like me who still want to believe in the lie of sisterhood. Well, I want to say that it's not a lie, but the people that like actually are craving that kind of friendship dynamic, or like to find that kind of pure, genuine friendship and fellowship with other women, this is a topic that is very near and dear to me. And to the last woman's point about the fake friends within friend groups oftentimes being your biggest haters, or the ones that are actually trying to expose you online. I came across the actual TikTok stitch she was referring to, the woman who gave a story time about how she found out that one of her close friends was behind a fake account that was trolling her and trying to expose her online. It was something that I wasn't necessarily shocked by, because one thing I have found is that when it comes to the people that pose you the most danger, oftentimes it's not strangers, right? It is those that are closest to you, that know the intimate details of your life, your deepest, darkest secrets. Those closest to you are usually the ones that are always going to bring you down or attempt to take you down. And that's why it is so important to be mindful of the signs of someone that doesn't mean you well within a friendship dynamic. So I am going to be sharing the story time that young lady had to share. But I do want to also leave on a high note with this video as well, and show the more positive aspect of what it can look like if you find real sisterhood and fellowship with other women. So I'm going to leave off with some additional stitches at the end, so definitely stay tuned for that. But up first, let's check out this story time.
Alright guys, so I'm actually gonna do a story time. I've never done a fucking story time before, but I'm gonna do a story time on some crazy ass shit. Literally it all just like kind of unraveled in front of me yesterday. And the story time's gonna be about how I found out that my really, really close, what I would consider my best friend, was pretending to be somebody and harassing me, like telling me to myself, telling me my family doesn't love me, telling me like crazy shit, you know? And the whole time, like, she was even texting me through the whole thing, being like, oh my god, what a bitch. Okay, listen. She was setting me and another girl up to try to fight because the girl beat her up. Like, a long time ago, this girl beat her up, and she was trying to set us up to fight each other. And the way it all came out was crazy. Like, the way it all came out was crazy. So, a long time ago, these two girls had beef, right? And we all used to be friends. But I'm a little older than them, so I graduated before, so I guess some beef had developed between them. Like, there was nothing going on between all of us. There's some stuff, like, went on between them. Whatever, that's between them. And one of the girls, we're going to call her Katie for legal purposes. Yes, because I'm not getting dragged into the mess that her life is with legal shit. But she actually told me, like, hey, she came to my job, we're gonna call her Sierra, and beat the shit out of me, like, and all her friends were there and this and that. And I'm like, okay, like, they all ganged up on you. And she'd said, like, oh, one of them was holding her down or something. Anyways, so I'm like, I don't fuck with jumping, and I don't fuck with like multiple people like helping another person beat up another person. I just feel like that was wrong. And so regardless on if we were all friends or not, like, I'm gonna take the what's right, you know? Like, who's in the right, you know? But I didn't even like message the other girl. I just like kind of stopped talking to them. By them I mean Sierra and all of her friends, because I felt bad for her. And so we start becoming friends. As time goes on, we get really close, like really tight, like going on double dates together. We're hanging out 4th of July. We're hanging out like all the time. Our boyfriends are friends, you know what I'm saying? We get like really, really freaking close. And I start working at a restaurant where Sierra works. This is very important. This is the girl who beat her up all that time ago. And Sierra works there, and I tell her, like, oh, Sierra works here. And she's like, oh, you should get that bitch fired. And I'm like, I'm not even planning to be here long. I'm only planning to work here for like a month maybe, because I was in between two jobs. And not in between two jobs, like, I was in the process of getting my job as to where I am right now. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that, but yeah, I still, hold on. So I got my burrito in my lap. Anyways, and so So as some time goes by, like there's a lot of tension between me and this girl, and I start getting really weird, eerie ass comments on my TikTok, and I'm like, it's probably just like a no life random person. And so I think to myself, like, I really don't have problems with anybody. This is like pretty persistent. It's like multiple accounts. I'm like starting to think it's that girl Sierra. I'm like, that's the only person that like doesn't like me, that has tensions with me right now at this job too. Like, I don't know, you know. And so as the tensions are rising, we get in an argument. Like me and that girl get in an argument where she threatens me and stuff. And I was telling her, like, I'm not gonna fight you. Like, I'm not in the place in my life where I can just be fighting, bro. Like, that's besides the point. So after we get in that argument, shortly thereafter I quit because I got the job here that I'd been wanting. And all of a sudden I start getting crazy text messages, like so many. Hold up. This segment in the video where I show the screenshots, like I think it's gonna get banned, so that's why I took it down. But it was like SLIT your wrist, you know, kill yourself, like hang yourself, crazy shit, bro, crazy shit. So yeah, I'm getting freaking crazy text messages, and I'm like, this bitch is crazy. And one of them was like, you know, fight me, ho, you wouldn't, something about work. I don't know if that was in one of the screenshots I'd sent, but she said something about work, and I was like, oh, it's this girl Sierra, like, she's harassing me. I'm even telling my boyfriend, this girl won't leave me alone. I'm telling, at this point, I even called my mom at one point, because I'm like, this is so, like, she won't stop, like, from all these different accounts, too, on social media. It was worse on social media. But, anyways, time goes by, right? Like, this was probably, those text messages I think were from last month or something, or a couple weeks ago. And mind you, all of a sudden yesterday, if, and y'all can look at I left them up yesterday. I finally just blocked the person. Well, now I know who it is. But yesterday I got spammed. Like, so many accounts were like commenting shit on my stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so I'm talking to my coworkers. I'm starting to get so mad. Like, I'm telling my coworkers, like, this is like fucked up. Like, I'm not gonna fight this girl, but I gotta do something, you know? First, I'm starting to spiral, thinking of doing some crazy shit, you know? By crazy shit, I don't mean like slashing her tires or something. Like, I don't know. I was just like trying, like, I need to do something to make her stop, you know? Well, anyways, as I'm doing this, I take a deep breath, because I used to have anger problems, for sure. I had anger problems in high school and in middle school. I always wanting to try to fight people. Like, I'm not like that anymore at all. I have a very sound mind. As much as I was getting upset, I said, let me take a deep breath and message her. So I'm like, I'm just gonna like directly text her. If she wants to hide behind these accounts, I'm gonna text her. So as all this is happening, I text my friend Katie, and she's like, yeah, that's Sierra, that obsessive bitch. And I'm like, why is she doing this to me? Like, another thing I realized now is, thinking back, like, I never straight up told her, like, I never told her that these comments, that I assumed they were that girl Sierra. So I was like, it's a little weird that she's immediately like, that's her. Anyways, but I just assumed, like, you know, that is the person that has been harassing you. Maybe it is. So as I reached out to that girl, I say, listen, dude, like, I know we had like what we had at the restaurant, but like, this all needs to stop. Like, this has gone way too far. I was just like, I don't know how it's gotten this far. Like, we had a little argument and nothing more. We were never texting each other arguing. I was never posting her on social media arguing with her. I was never, like, I didn't do anything. After we had that argument, I literally only talked to one person, which was that Katie girl, just telling her what happened, and my boyfriend, because I came home and had a bad day. Well, anyways, so I'm going to text her, right? And I text her, and I'm like, it just needs to stop. And she responds, like, there's not really to talk about. She sends a couple paragraphs about how she's upset and hurt. She doesn't say anything crazy, just like that she's upset. And then I said, well, listen, you need to stop harassing me, or I am going to file a police report. Like, I'm over this shit. And then she immediately goes, harassing you? She goes, you and her, as in Katie, she goes, won't leave me the fuck alone. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? And then she sends me screenshots. She sends me screenshots of somebody pretending to be me. Somebody pretending to be me, harassing her. And it's like, no, this shit wasn't fabricated, because it was from months ago, like months and months ago, around the time that it started with me. She had like screenshots of it in that time frame, not of right now. Like, you can't, even if she wanted to make that shit up like now, it would have to be from present day. And so I'm like, I did not want to believe it, but instantly, like, the wheels are turning in my head, and I'm like, that's her. I'm like, dude, that's my friend. I'm like, no, bro. As much as everyone can say, like, you can't really, like, prove that, well, it's gonna come out, because I did file a police report for all the harassment that I was going through. And hopefully I can help this other girl at Sierra. Okay, so we call, and all of a sudden, everything is making sense, because the only times that I would text this girl Katie about this person harassing me, or before I would even let her know that Sierra was harassing me, she would text me and be like, oh my god, look, Sierra's harassing me. Like, she would text me, Sierra's harassing me right now. And I'd be like, dude, no way, because she just texted me. It's like crazy. She always knew when it was gonna happen. And around the time I told her I was texting this girl Sierra, that account that was spamming me stopped. Instantly stopped. Like, all the comments, they've been going on all day since like 6 a.m. and they stopped. And when I call this girl, she's like distraught, telling me that like this girl, Katie, had been borderline ruining her life. She goes, because listen to, and this is all I can think, if she was fabricating all this harassment, like to me, was sending her screenshots. Like, she could have been sending that to her lawyer, being like, look, she's harassing my friends too. I'm just so like mind blown. This is what she did. She wanted us to argue back and forth, or for me to think she was harassing me, so I'd beat her ass. Like, that's what it. She wanted me to beat her ass, and I told her like, I'm not going to, but like there'd be sometimes I get so upset, like, bro, I just want to beat this bitch's ass. Like, this is insane. So later I did confront her about it, and of course she lied about it. You may ask, like, why are you so quick to believe that other girl? Your gut tells you, bro. And when I saw those screenshots, like, immediately, me and her went from like kind of having like our guard up when we were talking to each other to immediate both, like, it both clicking for us. You know what I mean? That this girl was setting this shit up. What really sucks, dude, is like, that shit made me like want to cry, because like that's like my best friend. Like, that shit was so upsetting, dude. But literally, she was like pretending for us to be each other. Like, she was pretending to be me, texting her, so that the tensions would continue to rise and stuff. The amount of accounts like I had to block, and just realizing this was all her saying. Long story short, I did file a police report. The other girl that was involved, Sierra, we talked on the phone for hours, and I encouraged her to also file for harassment against the text messages she got. And I'm writing a statement for her. Like, I'm writing a statement for her because I feel so horrible that all this time I was defending the wrong bitch. I really was. That's embarrassing, but I can admit when I'm wrong. And lastly, that fight was one-on-one, and I see why she beat her ass.
And that group of girlfriends that you want, I hope that you do find them. I hope that you do find them, and I hope that they find you, and I hope that there's never any question that there's anything sneaky going on. I hope that, like, you guys are always on one accord, and it's always a genuine sisterhood. I hope that you guys can venture into raising children together and having a whole village, literally. Being able to come to each other genuinely and talk to each other about your problems, like, go to God together, pray together, like, really just conquer the world together with our families. Like, I don't know, you know, like, if that's what you wish for, I hope that you find that, because genuine sisterhood, y'all, is actually just amazing. Like, being surrounded by a beautiful group of women who are really tapped in and like really care about themselves and really like keep it real all the time. Like, you just never have to guess. It's such a blessing, bro. It's such a blessing to encounter other women like that, be around other women like that, y'all. Like, I don't know. So if that was something that you were ever praying to God for, I really hope that he gives it to you, and I hope that you find it.
Black women do not have friends. Black women have sisters, allies, sponsors, and enemies. Your sisters are going to be Black women who have the ability to be emotionally and physically safe, Black women who are not male-centered, and Black women who are overall well-adjusted mentally. Those are your sisters. Those are your tribe. Second group of people are going to be allies. Allies are people of any gender and any background who are justice-centered, moral, and ethical, meaning right is right, wrong is wrong. They have integrity. They're going to do the right thing, even if they can get away with doing the right thing, the wrong thing. These are very rare people. They are like diamonds. And even yet and still, they are not our sisters. They're not another Black woman who has walked in our shoes, understands our plight, and can actually connect with us. They are allies. The third group of people are sponsors, who are allies, who also have economic and or social power, and they're willing to use their power to elevate you. Okay, these are going to be people who are going to give you promotions. They're going to finance your business ideas. They're going to move you into an upper class neighborhood, landlords and such. They're going to help elevate you and help move you forward in life with no no tit for tat. They're just going to help you because they have the power to do so and they want to. Those are your sponsors. The final group of people are going to be your enemies. Okay? If this past election cycle has taught you nothing, I hope you've learned that there is no such thing as being neutral. If somebody is not your sister, if somebody is not an ally, if somebody is not a ally sponsor, they are your enemy. Okay? Because these are going to be the male-centered women of any background. These are going to be people with no integrity, people with no morals, people who are unethical. These are going to be black men with microphones. These are going to be everybody who is not a decent human being. And they are instantly your enemies. If you can do so, the best option is to avoid these people. If that's not possible, what you need to do, once you've established they're not a sister, they're not an ally, and they're not a potential sponsor, you need to realize this person is dangerous and you are in a game with them. Because that's all these people are capable of doing, is playing games, stirring up drama, and creating as much chaos as possible. That is the goal of this final group of people. So if you are in any type of relationship with them, that is all you're going to get. You're constantly in a game. You're constantly in a manipulation. And you have to emotionally prepare yourself to deal with that if you can't immediately get away with them. I personally feel like I'm not going to tolerate the fourth group of people at all. Okay, if I got to change a job, if I got to move, I personally am not going to deal with them. Okay, now I know that's not everybody's not in a position to do that, but that is the number one option I think should be chosen. You do not have to subject yourself to horrible people. Okay, you don't have to go along to get along. You very rarely can fight them or overcome them, because people who are terrible human beings have been that way their entire lives. And if you are a person with integrity, you don't have the ability to go down to the depths of hell to fight with them. You don't have that skill, and you don't want to develop that skill. It's not worth it, especially when we live in a world and a country with so many possibilities. Okay, so many possibilities. You don't need to waste your time, energy, and, stress yourself out trying to compete with an evil person. Okay, this is life. It's not a TV. It's not TV. It's not a movie. The good guys don't tend to win because, again, you're up against an evil person who has had their entire lives to perfect their craft and to build their network of evil. And the good guys don't win in real life. Okay, in real life, they completely obliterate you and you're just left in the ashes. And then you have to get away from them anyway, right? So stop going around thinking you have friends, thinking people care about you, thinking people like you. Black girl. Okay, people see you. They are going to tolerate you. If they're not in the first three groups, they're going to tolerate you and they're going to target you. Okay, they're going to tolerate you as long as you're valuable and you're doing something for them. If they if they're not getting anything from you, then they're going to go into targeting you. Okay, and that's going to be, again, the games that these people play. The drama. It's kind of like you're on a plantation in 2025 because you have bored people, you have bored non-black people, and then you have the skin folk who are the descendants of people that Harriet Tubman would have left behind. Right? They're the descendants of the overseers and the people who thought proximity to whiteness was all there was to life. Okay, and these people are just pointless. It's completely pointless to deal with these people. But life is wonderful. And you do have sisterhood. You do have allies. You do have sponsors, black woman. You have so many people out here who are willing to be on your side, be on your team, and who want to see you do great things. So do not settle for the insanity and the chaos from people who that's their whole goal. They want to destroy you. They mean you harm. They don't mean you well. They want to destroy you. They want to set you back. They want you to suffer. So quickly identify people you come in contact with and move accordingly, because this is your life. It's your responsibility. You have to move in a way that is in line with your mission, your goals, unapologetically.